All right, so can you give us an update about the wildfire situation in and around Winnipeg right now and what's happening there?
Well, thankfully, over the last 24, 48 hours here, we've had some rain and some cooler temperatures. And so, all of us across the province are hoping that these conditions will help to reduce the fires and reduce the fire risk. But there's still evacuation orders that are in place. The fire crews throughout the province and within local communities are working extremely hard. They're supported by outstanding volunteers. And as you said off the top, it's such a tragedy that two lives have been lost. And on behalf of the people of Winnipeg, I offer my sincere condolences to the community and to the family of those affected.
All right, Mary, you sort of touched upon it there that there's volunteers to help support evacuees, but we know a lot of people have been forced from their homes. What exactly is being done to provide them with support and assistance?
Well, the province of Manitoba, working with the local municipalities that are affected, really stands up supports to assist those who need that kind of support. And whether individuals, that have been evacuated are staying with friends or elsewhere in the community, that people may be spread out. But the Lac which is primarily affected, and Nopiming Park, those are communities that are both about an hour and a half north and east of Winnipeg. As you can see by the photos that are being displayed, it's an area of lake country. There's a lot of people that live there, but there's a lot of Winnipeggers that have cottages there. And so these are areas that have several thousand people that live there year round, but then those numbers swell in the summertime. And so there's a lot of concern about the property being affected, but of course, the loss of life. So again, I want to commend the fire crews who are working so hard to protect property, but more so to keep everybody safe.
So, Mayor, can you tell us a little bit more about what you're hearing from Winnipeggers? How are they feeling? How are they responding to all of this?
Well, at times of tragedy or times of crisis, natural disasters, Winnipeggers and Manitobans really do band together. We're a community that has been affected multiple times over the decades by floods, severe flooding, or wildfires, or snowstorms. And when these natural disasters happen, it is really a time where community bonds together. And so, when I'm talking to other Winnipeggers and people that are in the city that have property in those areas, they're sending me pictures, they're expressing concerns, and obviously nobody wants to see any property, destroyed. But even more so, we want to make sure everybody is safe.
All right, and we know Manitoba is seeking outside assistance for its firefighting efforts. Can you tell us a little bit more about those requests, what they look like, and just how important it is not just for provincial governments to come together at this critical time, but really for federal leadership to stand strong as well?
Well, you're right, and don't have the details of the request, but I do know that the province has put out a call requesting firefighters and resources from other provinces, and that's very much what we do in Canada and beyond. Is our fire crews that are experienced in firefighting, whether it's fighting forest fires or disasters of this nature. We do reach across provincial lines. We do call upon resources, and sometimes Manitoba will send our water bombers and our firefighters elsewhere upon request as well. So we're just, as a community, we're very grateful for all those who are involved on the front lines, who are helping. I want to commend my colleagues who are the reeves and mayors of those regions, who are putting in long hours with everybody else to do all they can to combat these forest fires. And so, like I said, it's the long weekend in Canada. It's a time when people want to be outdoors, but I'll tell you, we're really happy, I think, here in Manitoba to see a cold, rainy, long weekend. We'd much prefer this so that we can, help our firefighters combat the battles that they're raging right now.
I think everyone would agree with you on that. And Mayor, what lessons do you think can be learned from these wildfires? What can be done perhaps differently moving forward to avoid any potential fires and mitigate the damage done to life and property?
Well, I think, I've already, heard from, we've heard from the Reeve, Lauren Schinkel of the arm of Lac who talked about, looking at their notification system and lessons learned as far as, is everything going well with notification systems. I think too, that we make sure that our fire crews, whether they're volunteer fire departments across the province or within the city of Winnipeg even, because we've had, a few significant grass fires we've had property damage and loss over the last couple of weeks within Winnipeg. It's about making sure we have the resources available, making sure all properties, are complying with fire codes as well. There's always lessons to be learned, I think, after the fact, after any disaster. But at this point, the focus right now is getting these fires contained, putting them out, and allowing people to return to the properties.
All right, I know you touched upon this about, obviously being the long weekend and hopefully people praying and hoping for rain to happen rather than a sunny long weekend. What is your message to Winnipeggers and Manitobas this long weekend, this wildfire season?
I want to thank Manitobans, Winnipeggers for, first of all, abiding by the fire ban. There's a fire ban within the city of Winnipeg right now. We don't want any outdoor, backyard fires or anything of the like. So first of all, I want to thank all Winnipeggers and Manitobans who are complying with and abiding by those fire bans. But, let's continue to rally together to support one another at this difficult time.
Mayor, thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham.